In our complex and fragile world, there is a subtext. It is a concealed undertone that is often disregarded in the daily life within our existence. It is weaved into the fabric of our reality. These are entities, invisible and elusive, that work tirelessly to disrupt our innate spiritual resonance, a sacred bond that ties us to the divine. These are the dark forces, subtle yet potent, and they labor without sleep in the shadows, harvesting human energies and shifting our focus away from God. For instance, dark forces in the digital realm encompass several elements, including psychological manipulation through targeted ads, propagation of fear, and division through misinformation, and a relentless demand for attention and engagement that can lead to digital fatigue and disconnection from the physical world. These forces exploit our inherent human vulnerabilities, using intricate algorithms to command our attention and shape our perceptions, and ultimately harvest our energies. As for the particle accelerator, such as the Fermilab's Tevatron near Chicago, United States, it is often called a beast due to its immense power and complexity. It's important to clarify its purpose. Its main function is to provide insights into the fundamental structure of the universe by accelerating particles to near the speed of light and then smashing them together. However, critics have raised concerns about the potential misuse of this powerful technology. They suggest that the massive amount of energy these colliders generate could be harnessed for purposes other than pure scientific exploration, potentially leading to advancements that could be used to control or manipulate human behavior or even alter the natural order of the universe, including the weather, animals, and humankind. Another instance, the hub of our technology, software engineers find themselves entrenched in a digital realm where screens become mirrors reflecting their lives. The intoxicating lure of code, algorithms, and digital solutions tethers them to their screens. The lines of code becoming both their canvas and their prison. It is a world that thrives on innovation and relentless progress. Yet, within this fervor of advancement, these digital maestros often lose sight of the world beyond the pixels. Their energies, their creative prowess, their time, all of them are consumed by the ceaseless demands of the digital landscape. They are drawn into an intricate dance with technology, one that often leaves little room for the rhythm of human existence. For each click, each line of code, each problem solved may give a sense of accomplishment, but it also draws from their energy. And over time, this continuous immersion in the digital world can take a toll, draining them of their vitality and distancing them from their inner selves and overshadowing their connection to the divine. And as their screens cast a glow into the late hours of the night, it often outshines the natural rhythms of life, interrupting sleep cycles and straining physical and mental health. The world around them starts to fade into the background, replaced by a reality defined by code, by data, and digital solutions, including the glaring allure of smartphones and other digital devices that can be incredibly potent, drawing people in much like a magnet attracting steel. For indeed, it is no surprise that individuals in the technological sector, constantly immersed in the digital world, may sometimes appear overwhelmed or disoriented. The relentless bombardment of information and the ceaseless demand for innovation can blur boundaries, thus causing a sense of digital saturation that could affect their well-being and clarity. Their spiritual connection, their ties to nature, their relationships, all are slowly eroded, bit by bite, by the demands of the screen. The screen becomes a vortex, a digital black hole that siphons their energies and draws their focus away from the spiritual realm. And so while technology offers many opportunities for growth and advancement, this narrative serves as a reminder of the importance of balance. For it is a call to software engineers and to all who find themselves tethered to the digital realm to occasionally unplug, to step away from the screen, to rejuvenate their energies, and to reconnect with the world beyond the pixels. The screen may command their attention, but it's essential not to let it consume their spirit. And so you might ask, who are these dark forces? Are they physical entities lurking in our midst, or abstract concepts? Concepts rooted in human consciousness itself? Well, it is a complex question. But in essence, these dark forces can be understood as negative influences that shape our thoughts, that shape our actions, and ultimately our destinies. The dark forces exist in many forms, embodying the fear, divisiveness, and materialistic obsessions that pervade our society. They take form in sensational media, unscrupulous entities that exploit our anxieties for their gain. They manifest in the culture of excessive consumerism, coaxing us towards an insatiable greed that severes our spiritual connections. They echo in the voices of those who sow discord, feeding off of the disharmony that fractures our unity. Let's consider the allegory of the forest. A healthy forest thrives in balance, each element contributing to the harmony of the ecosystem. But then introduce an invasive species, and the equilibrium is disrupted. The invasive species grows uncontrollably, consuming resources and crowding our native plants. Our minds are like the forest, and these dark forces, the invasive species, they penetrate our consciousness, they multiply, and they thrive, gradually crowding out our spiritual connection to the divine. Or let's consider this allegory of the puppeteer. We humans are like puppets, and the dark forces, the puppeteer, manipulating the strings of our consciousness, guiding our actions away from love and from unity, towards fear and division. So to counteract these dark forces, we must first acknowledge their existence and recognize their influence. And this awareness is a very first step towards reclaiming our spiritual sovereignty. But knowledge alone is not enough. We must consciously strive to mitigate their impact, directing our energies towards love, towards unity, and most importantly, spiritual enlightenment and, ultimately, the divine. And how do we achieve this? Well, it begins with a shift in focus. It begins with a different perspective, a turn away from the divisive narratives, sensationalist media, and excessive materialism, and a turn towards compassion, understanding, unity, and spirituality. This shift is not merely a change in action, but a profound transformation in thought and in spirit. The forces that want to harvest human energies and shift our focus away from God are both real and influential, pervading the ether of our everyday lives. They come in various forms, each more subtle and insidious than the last, and they sow seeds of discord, fear, divisiveness within our consciousness. However, as potent as these forces might seem, they are not invincible. The power to overcome them lies within us. Just as a river's course can carve valleys out of mountains over time, our continuous efforts, guided by awareness and spirituality and the divine, can really erode the influence of these forces on our lives. Let's envision another allegory, a garden. Our minds are gardens, fertile and full of potential. The dark forces are like weeds, threatening to overrun and dominate, thereby stiffening the growth of the beautiful flowers that represent our connection to the divine. To ensure that our garden thrives, we need to remain vigilant, weeding out those harmful influences and nurturing our spirituality. Yet, removing the weeds is not enough. We must also nurture the soil, the very foundation of our garden. The soil represents our core beliefs, our values, and our attitudes. And when it is enriched with love, with compassion, and a strong sense of unity, our spiritual connection flourishes, nurturing the soil. Therefore, it is as important as weeding out the negative influences. The digital age has brought with it a new kind of dark force, one that lives within the algorithms and the endless scrolls of social media. These platforms, while designed to connect us, can often do the opposite, instigating division, promoting unrealistic standards, and creating a breeding ground for negativity. They exploit our vulnerabilities, our desire for validation, and our fear of missing out, manipulating our attention and our energies. The ceaseless bombardment of information can often leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from our spiritual selves. Instead of fostering genuine human connection, these dark forces use social media as a tool to amplify our insecurities, distract us from our spiritual path, and harvest our energies for their gain. Recognizing and navigating these digital pitfalls is a modern-day challenge we must face in our journey towards a stronger spiritual connection with the divine. Releasing the grip of social media's dark forces requires a deliberate and conscious approach. Begin with cultivating awareness about our social media usage. Notice how much time you spend scrolling and the kind of content you consume. And most importantly, how does it make you feel? If you find that it stirs up feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, or discontent, consider it a sign that changes need to be made. Establish boundaries with social media. Set aside specific times for checking your feeds and avoid aimless scrolling. Consider implementing a digital detox. A day or a few hours in your week where you completely abstain from social media. This can help you regain control over your time and energy. Curate your feeds to reflect positivity, inspiration, and spiritual growth. Follow accounts that uplift and enrich your life, rather than those that promote fear, comparison, or negativity. Unfollow or mute accounts that do not serve your well-being or your spiritual journey. Practice mindful consumption. Just as you are conscious about the food you eat, then be conscious about the digital content you consume. By discerning about what you read, what you watch, and who you engage with. Let us turn our hearts towards pursuits that ignite the divine spark within us. It is through the quiet whispers of meditation, the profound echoes of prayer, and the heartfelt practices that strengthen our spiritual tether to the divine that we find our inner sanctuary. So let us bathe in the serenity of nature, lose ourselves in the joy of a beloved hobby, or revel in the depth of meaningful dialogues. These are the gateways to our souls, the bridges that link us to the spiritual realm. It is through such engagements that we can delicately disentangle ourselves from the clamor of the digital world, allowing our spirits to ascend from the materialistic towards the mystical. And so by shifting our focus, thus we envelope ourselves in the gentle embrace of the divine and resonate with the cosmic rhythm of the universe, turning out the dissonance of the digital age. Here is an affirmation to reflect upon. I am fully present, grounded in my divine essence, no matter the noise of the digital realm, for I remain connected to my inner peace, strength, and wisdom. Remember, social media is a tool. It is up to us to decide how we wield it. When used mindfully, it can serve as a platform for inspiration, for connection and growth. But when it becomes a source of anxiety or distraction, then it's time to reassess and adjust our usage to protect our energy and our spiritual health. The struggle against these forces isn't a sprint, but a marathon. It requires sustained effort, continual self-awareness, and an unshakable faith in the divine. It involves consistently choosing love over fear, unity over division, and spirituality over materialism. Only then can we safeguard our energies from being harvested and maintain our focus on God, the divine source of all that is good and all that is pure. Here's a quotation from the Bible Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The verse from Ephesians signifies that our true battles are not merely physical, but spiritual, waged against unseen forces that seek to distract and misguide us. It underscores that our adversaries are often intangible forces of negativity, fear, and spiritual darkness that permeate our world today. To protect ourselves, we must cultivate spiritual strength through practices, through prayer, through meditation, and armor ourselves in the light of faith, love, and divine guidance. And so, as we journey through the labyrinth of life, let us remember this. The dark forces are real, but they are not invincible. For we hold within us the power to conquer them. It is a battle fought not in the physical realm, but on the spiritual plane. A battle where our weapons are love, faith, and unity. And by wielding these weapons with wisdom and courage, we can shield our energies from being harvested and keep our focus steadfast on the divine. In the end, the dark forces may test our resolve, but they can never dim the divine light that shines within us. As we nourish this light with love, with faith, and with unity, we become illuminated in the world, guiding others towards the path of spiritual growth and divine connection. And this, ultimately, is our victory over the dark forces that seek to harvest our energies and shift our focus away from God. The battle may be relentless, but with love as our shield and faith as our sword, victory is always within our reach. Dear God, grant me the wisdom to journey efficiently through the digital world, ensuring it does not sway me from thy divine path. May I remember, amidst the hum of the virtual realm, that thou art my true source of energy and my spiritual refuge. Thus I pray for balance and discernment, that I may use these tools not to be consumed, but to bring light unto myself and unto the world. Amen. If these insights have kindled a spark within you, please spread their warmth by sharing this podcast, available on all major platforms, with those around you. For together we can mend our world, one shared message at a time.